There's something Jesus does over and over again in Scripture that should make us pause. Jesus asks questions he already knows the answer to. One of those questions appear in Mark 9, chapter 9, verse 21, when a father brings his demon possessed son to Jesus. Jesus asks him, how long has he been like this? How long has he been like this? Jesus already knew, so why ask? In Mark 9:21, it says, Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? From childhood, he answered. That answer isn't just information, it's a lifetime of pain wrapped in a sentence. Notice that what Jesus doesn't do. He doesn't say, let's skip the conversation and get to the healing. He doesn't rush past the grief to get to the glory. Instead, he pauses. Jesus gives the Father space to say out loud what he has been carrying for years. This tells us something important, that Jesus cares about the story, not just the outcome. When Jesus asks, how long? He's not asking for a timeline, he's inviting honesty. Grief often time often measures time differently. It attaches the word since to it. Since that day, since that loss, since that moment, everything changed. The father answer from childhood isn't casual, it's grief speaking. And Jesus doesn't interrupt it. He doesn't interrupt. This is what stood out to me the most. Jesus does not say, let's skip the grief and get to the glory. Before resurrection came, before resurrection came to Lazarus, Jesus wept. Before healing came to this child, Jesus listened. That tells us something sacred. God does not bypass pain in order to show power. He enters it. Right after Jesus asks the question, the Father says, if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us. And then comes one of the most honest prayer in the Bible. I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief, is what it says in Mark 9, verse 24. That prayer only happens because Jesus made room. He made room for grief. Jesus didn't demand perfect faith. He welcomed honest faith. Honest faith. And I couldn't help but ask myself, would Jesus ever ask me that same question? How long have you been like this? Would he ask me that? Not because he doesn't know, not to accuse, not to rush healing, but to say, tell me your story. I'm still here. If you're grieving today, if your pain has a sense attached to it, know this. Jesus is not waiting for you to get past the grief before he shows up. He doesn't skip grief to get to the glory. He walks through it with you. And if he were to ask you, how long have you been like this? It wouldn't be because he doesn't know. It will be because he wants to sit with you in it. Healing comes, glory comes, but first, Jesus stays.